Okay, thanks, Jordan. All right, injury front. Malik Collins has a quad injury that will require surgery, so he will be out for the season. So very disappointed for Malik, and he's obviously been playing such good football, and he provides great leadership for this football team. So disappointed for him, but he will bounce back. Dylan Sampson has a calf injury. I'd say he's day to day. Jack Conklin remains in concussion protocol. Wyatt Teller has a calf injury. I'd call it week to week. So we'll see how those guys come out of it in the next few days. Obviously, like we talked about yesterday, did not play complimentary football, and we did too many things that make it hard to beat a good team. It's not about one play. There's not one play that I'm talking about, but just in general, as a team, we have to play complimentary football, and that'll be our focus. That's something that we're watching the tape right now, pointing it out in ways that we can be better, offensively, defensively, special teams. With that, I'll take any questions.
All right, first question, we'll go to Jeff.
Hey, Kevin. Gage, he fumbled one punt, muffed another, and then he lost a third on a muff. Did you think about replacing him at any point with anybody?
You know, Gage is a young player that I have faith in. I trust. He's been very dependable this season, Jeff. He's played in some of the conditions that we've had down there in previous games have been tough. Obviously, the muff. Those are one of the easy ones that he just didn't make in this game, but I trust him. The other time he had one of our players bumped into him, and then he needs to secure the ball on that third one, like you mentioned. But this is a young player that I feel that he is getting better throughout this season. We trust him. He'll keep working, and that's all it is.
All right, thank you.
All right, next one to Scott.
Hey, Kevin, when you went back and watched those 4th and 1s, what stood out to you as far as why they didn't work?
Yeah, we need to do a better job as coaches to give our guys an opportunity there. Of course, we can execute better, all those type of things. That's been an area where we've been, have had some success this season in some of those 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situations. We did not yesterday. So you got to give credit to San Francisco, but there are definitely things that we can do better on our end.
And the same for that long punt return. I know we talked about it all year when it's happened, but what did you see on yesterday's?
Yeah, we leveraged the ball well. We just got to make a play. Somebody's got to get that guy on the ground. We're in good shape. We just didn't. We leveraged well, but at the point of attack, we did not play together there to get that one on the ground.
Thanks.
All right, next one to Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, just wondering, after you watched the film of Shedeur, what are some things that you saw him build on from the week before? And then a follow-up to that is, what is maybe the wisdom in kind of taking this thing week to week if you're still doing that?
Yeah, again, Shedeur had some really good moments in that football game. There are things that he wants back that we're coaching up right now that he can improve upon. But bottom line is we have to continue to put our players in position to succeed. For the young quarterback, you only get better with more turns at this thing in these games as you see more coverages, as you see more defenses, and as you prepare versus different defenses. So just looking forward to that constant improvement with Shedeur and for all of our young players.
And just the notion of kind of just not looking beyond this week, is that still your strategy for this? And what is the thinking behind that?
Yeah, I'm just dealing with our football team week to week, but I'm pleased with his progress. He knows he wants to continue to get better and better, and that's the right attitude to have, and that's why we'll continue to work.
Thank you.
All right, next one to Tony.
Hi, Kevin, on the 4th and 1 from your 33, Teller was coming in. He hadn't been on that. And I know you wanted to get the playoff and kind of quick snap him, but were you close to calling a timeout at all?
Yeah, had the injury to Jack, which had some moving parts with KT, and so had Wyatt out there late, which that's something that we need to be better about as an offensive unit, as coaches, as players. Had an eye on it, felt like we were going to get the snap off. Obviously, we didn't execute in that situation. I want to make sure that I'm always putting our players in positions to succeed. That's a situation where you don't want to use your timeouts in the second half if you don't have to, if you can get the play off. But obviously, we didn't get what we wanted there, which is disappointing. So always thinking about if there's better ways in those situations to put our guys in position to go get it.
And Malachi Corley catching the ball at the 5. What was his explanation? Was he confused about the rule, or was
No, he knows the rule. He's well aware of the rule. He made a mistake again, and that's what I said earlier. It's this. These games are never about one player, one person. He's a young player he'll learn from that and he'll be better.
Thank you.
All right, next we go to Cam.
Kevin, kind of sticking with the special teams, Grant Delpit said last night after the game that it's not so much of a things need to change in preparation. It's hard to prepare on special teams. You just kind of have to make plays and give the effort. Would you agree with that? And do you feel like there maybe is more that you guys can do in a week to clean up some of those, whether it's returning or coverage on returns to clean up some of those special teams blunders?
Well, I think definitely I trust in the way that we prepare. I trust in how we get our guys ready, and we'll always look at if there's things that we can do differently. We'll always look at that, Cam, in the structure of what we do. But I feel like we do a good job getting our guys prepared. And then the effort's there. We just got to get those guys on the ground. That's obviously disappointing in those moments. But again, it's about getting it out of our guys, whether that's going to come from the meeting room, the practice field, et cetera. I trust that our guys will work and will improve.
And then with Malik, I know obviously a blow to the interior, but also we've talked so much about how he's impacted what Miles has been able to do, what the edge has been able to do, and how that trickles back. So one, how big of a loss is it to the entire defense to lose a guy who's playing like Malik was, and then how do you plan on maybe addressing his absence?
Sure. Well, when you lose a guy like Malik, you don't replace him. Everybody's just got to step up. It's multiple guys that have to step up. But he's made a big impact on this football team on the field and off the field. I think our young room, we have some older guys in there, but we have bunch of young guys in there. I think they've learned a lot from the professional that Malik is on a day in and day out basis. And I think you have to carry that with you throughout.
Thanks.
All right, next we go to Joe.
Kevin, Shador raised a point after the game yesterday, just in terms of building time on task with Jerry and building more of a trust level with him. In terms of a young quarterback with receivers, how much of that is practice and how much is maybe meeting room watching film? Just what is the process in terms of building that?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. I think it's definitely being on the same page as an offense, and that comes in meetings and walkthroughs and understanding concepts and what we're trying to do and those type of things. And then time on task on the football field and practice and routes versus air and games. I think all of that adds up.
Okay, thanks.
All right, next we go to Chris.
Hey Kevin, I want to ask you about Wyatt and the calf injury. When exactly did the injury initially occur? And I guess to answer that, then I'll move on to my next question.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure when I can picture it happening on film, but I don't know the exact play.
How much the decision to go with Tevin and rotate him in? How early in the week did you kind of decide to go with that? And just was that based on what you saw with Tevin in practice or what you were seeing with Wyatt, during the course of the season?
Yeah, obviously with decisions like that, I always make sure I talk to our players and let them know what I'm thinking. I felt like it would help Wyatt play better. And obviously I think Tevin's deserving of some plays. And I thought both guys played really well yesterday.
Thanks.
All right, next we go to Daniel. Can't hear you, Daniel. No, we'll come back to you. We'll go to Spencer.
Kevin, we heard after the game from Shelby and Miles just about sort of the incident that sort of broke out when Malik got hurt with Jawan Jennings and some things that were said. They kind of used the word like disparaging towards some of their players. I just wanted to ask you, you talk so much about your even keel approach to things. First of all, happy with the way that they kind of handled that it didn't get out of hand? And how do you sort of make sure that even keel approach rubs off on your guys so those situations don't escalate?
Yeah, I don't have much to add there, Spencer. Obviously, was just focused on Malik in that moment.
Thanks.
All right, we'll go back to Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, just wondering, did you see that there was a sideline confrontation that happened between Shador Sanders and Jerry Jeudy? And I know that that's part of football, that those kind of things do happen. But I'm just wondering, what you not only thought of that, but what do you think is kind of going on with Jerry Jeudy in this season where it's just not going for him, the way that he would have expected, or that I guess you guys would have expected?
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, Mary Kay, football is an emotional sport, and certainly you can, when you're a family like we are, you can have your disagreements. Sometimes they're for everybody to see. Sometimes it's behind closed doors, but like a family, we move on. We talk about it, so not worried about it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Daniel, we'll try again.
All right, how about now?
Good.
All right, cool. Yeah. So if Wyatt is healthy enough to play, do you anticipate continuing that right guard rotation?
Yeah, he's out this week, so we'll see
Okay,
as we get going.
got you. And then my next question is, there's I guess week 14. Is there any plans to open Deshaun Watson's practice window? And if not, is it fair to assume that he will not be returning in any capacity this season?
Yeah, I don't have an update there, Daniel.
Do you not have an update because there hasn't been an update in terms of checking on his physical process, or is it not an update because you just don't know yet?
I just don't have an official update on that.
Gotcha.
All right, we'll go back to Scott.
Hey, Kevin, going back to the Shador and Jerry thing, just how important is them to be seeing the things on the same page, right? It felt like they were looking at the same thing and saw two different things. So how important is that for the quarterback and the receiver to read everything the same way?
Yeah, again, that's nothing new in football. When you have plays that you see things and you want to talk through it, but those come up every single game, truly. And sometimes it can be, two offensive linemen saw a play a little bit differently, and you got to look at the tape and get on the same page. So that's all it is.
And then on that first sack Shador took, it looked like you guys were right on the edge of field goal range. What's kind of the coaching point about that? Not taking a sack there, or getting the ball, getting rid of the ball earlier, or whatever.
Yeah, it's a learning moment. We'll with all of our players, young players, young and old players, quarterbacks and otherwise, you just got to coach your guys up on situational ball and what we're trying to accomplish in those moments. But he'll definitely learn from that.
Thanks.
All right, Tony, you have another one?
Actually, no, Daniel took my question. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. All right, Mary Kay, last one.
Yeah, just in addition to the fact that, Jerry hasn't been able to necessarily, or that Shador and Jerry haven't necessarily been able to connect. How can you guys sort of accelerate the development with other primary receivers such as said Tillman, maybe David Njoku? It just seems like there's a lot being left out on the field in that regard.
Yeah, I think. Listen, we'll just keep working. I think, Mary Kay, that's probably the main thing. And like you mentioned, there's guys on this football team, multiple guys on this football team that we trust, that we feel really strongly about in the past game, and we'll just continue to work here in Berea, and then take that work to the game field on Sundays.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that wraps us up with Coach. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, guys.
We'll let you guys know when Harold or Devin are on the way. All right, guys, we'll have Devin Bush here in a minute if you want to get questions ready. All right, everyone, we have Devin Bush here. If you have questions, raise your hand and we'll call on you. All right, Mary Kay.
Yeah, Devin, Kevin just told us that Malik is going to be out for the season, and that he needs surgery on the quad. Excuse me. And I was just wondering, what you thought of the season that Malik was having, but it also seems like he really had a tremendous impact on the locker room as a whole in terms of his leadership ability.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose a vet like Malik, obviously it's going to be a void that needs to be filled. But in this business that we in, it's always the next man up. Another man's trash could be another man's treasure. So it's going to create opportunity along the D line and our defense to step up.
And how did Malik maybe make your job easier when he was out there doing his thing?
Just him being him, his play style, his knowledge of the game, and him just being a playmaker.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we go to Scott.
Hey, Devin. After the game yesterday, Miles said that despite the short fields that you guys were given, that the defense needed to be better and hold the Niners to field goals. So does everybody feel the same way? And how do you think you guys could have done that better?
Yeah, of course. Anytime you let a team like that, of that caliber, I mean, clearly that's a playoff team. We can't let them in that box easy. We got to give ourselves a chance to stay in the game for as long as possible. And it's just sudden change. It's a thing in this game called sudden change, where things may not go your way. We may get off on the 3 and out, or the offense may have a quick turnover or something like that. But it's our job to go out there and put the fire out as fast as we could.
And then we talked so much about McCaffrey going into the week. His numbers are not what they normally are. How did you think you guys did against him?
Yeah, I think we did well. Of course, he's a big thing for their offense. He gets their offense going. And if he's not working, then they got to go elsewhere. And I don't think even that was a big thing in our game. Like you just stated, it was more about just us defending the short field and those sudden change moments.
Thanks.
All right, next we go to Cam.
Devin, you mentioned the next guy up has to be ready. In the 2 seasons you've been here, how have you seen that mentality in practice leading into a week? How have you seen the guys on this specific team kind of rally around that idea of being ready for their moment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a testament to that as well. I mean, when JOK went down last year with his neck injury, it was all eyes on me, and it was get ready as fast as you can, and go out there and play. So it was just a week of practice, getting ready for the week of practice, the way we study, the way we prepare, individual drills, team drills, and just taking those reps and treating them like game.
Thanks.
All right, next go to Jeff.
Hey, Devin, this week you have Cam Ward and the Titans. You probably haven't studied them yet, but what are your impressions of a young rookie quarterback like him, who's supposed to be so great but is struggling?
Yeah, we just got to put him in those situations to struggle some more if he wants some success. So as much as we can do that, the better off we'll be.
Right, thanks.
All right, Mary Kay, you got another one?
Yeah, I do actually have another one. Devin, are you still having to deal with, an off the field situation? Because I thought that you had something tomorrow that you had to deal with. And if so, like how is that impacting you on the field and playing and having your mind and everything where it needs to be?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm here, I'm a football player. When I lead this building, I am who I am. Yeah, I know all this is public news, so yeah, I got my stuff tomorrow and everything like that. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, next we're going to Scott.
Hey, Devin, I know we've asked you a lot about Miles, but I had a couple of specific things. That sack he got yesterday, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen the video where he takes that huge step inside and beats those two guys. Have you seen anybody else do a move like that?
Nah, I haven't.
And, he's coming up on that sack title for the season. How important is it to you guys that he gets it?
It's big for us. He's obviously a big catalyst of our defense. He's on the front seven, so obviously he's the first line of attack, and he's also a great player. So of course, we want him to have as much success as he can. And it may not be the best season we have in this season, but we need to hang our hat somewhere. It's our job to get him there.
Thanks.
All right, last call for questions for Devin. All right, thanks, Devin. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, guys, we'll let you know when Harold's on the way. Oh, Harold's ready. You guys want to get questions? There you go. All right, everyone, we have Harold Fannin here. If you have questions, raise your hand and we'll get to you. I'm gonna unmute you. You good, Harold?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah. All right, first question, we'll go to Cam.
Harold, on your touchdown, kind of fought for those extra yards. Tommy Reese said before the game that he tells the team that they can't stop playing through a play because if you've got the ball, it might not be over. How have you embraced kind of the idea of yak and fighting for those extra yards? And what does that say about your play style that you're able to execute that?
Yeah, I mean, I was just always taught since a young age just to fall forward, fight for those extra yards, and in that moment I seen the end zone, so of course I fought extra hard for that.
When you are out there, fighting for it, does it feel, maybe I know you're a rookie, but does it feel like a kind of leadership in its own to be able to go out there and and try to push your way into a first down, push your way to the end zone, push your way to a win?
Nah, I mean, I don't really think as it is something, spectacular. Just like I said, something I've just been doing for a while. So, just natural.
Thanks.
All right, next we're going to Scott.
Hey, Harold, what happened on that 4th and 1 when you were lined up behind center?
Yeah, just gotta hold on to the snap. Uh, yeah, I mean the time was rolling. I feel like I should have called a timeout. I wasn't thinking straight, but yeah, just didn't hold the ball really.
If you get the snap cleanly, like, do you feel like you convert the first down there? You pick it up?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got a good line. They would have got a good push. I just gotta hold on to the ball.
Thanks.
Okay, next we're going to Jeff.
I'm going to ask you about that play too, Harold. Did you ever run that at Bowling Green?
Not at Bowling Green. No, I haven't.
So did you do in high school or junior high or?
I mean, I used like my freshman year in high school, I used to play a little bit of quarterback, so I got a little bit of experience right there. Through the week, throughout the whole year, I've been practicing, taking snaps like that and stuff. So,
Was the ball wet and slippery?
nah, like I said, I was just rushing it because of the shot clock, and yeah.
All right, thanks.
All right, next we're going to Mary Kay.
Yeah, Harold, wondering, what do you learn from something like that? You've been making some really nice big plays, and then have like an occasional mistake like that. Is that just the life of a rookie? And, what's your takeaway from a game like that where you contributed in a big way, but then also have one that you'd like to have back?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the life of a rookie. I feel like, all players go through it. There's gonna be some highs, gonna be some lows, but just come to work, ready to work every day.
And do you guys, after a game like that, I don't know if you've had a chance to come together yet, but do you resolve to, just really try to play a clean game going forward and make a point of emphasis of just coming out the next week and learning from those kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I say we, we try to, go over the mistakes, fix the mistakes, try to not let those mistakes happen again in the next game. And like you said, just keep learning from it.
And one more thing on that real quick. Was Shador and some of the other guys like very, helpful in the aftermath of that and encouraging you and telling you to keep your head up and not let it get to you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what the score was, so it's still a pretty tight game. So I feel like, it didn't really affect us at the time, but, obviously, like I said earlier, I wish I would have done something different.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we're going to Spencer.
Hey, Harold. Shador's talked a lot about just trying to kind of get on the same page and build chemistry, like especially with a guy like Jerry. But it seems like you've kind of become like a safety net of sorts for him, and you guys kind of already have that chemistry developed. Just what has led to some of the success that you guys have had in these first couple of games together, and being able to sort of produce on the field?
I mean, obviously the practices, but I feel like us just sitting down, talking in the locker room, seeing how he want things and seeing how I see things and, trying to just meet in the middle, really.
And then when Kevin's going for it on those fourth downs, whether you're under center or taking the snap with the way you guys ran that play or not, like how much do you guys appreciate sort of that aggressive style? Like, do you guys appreciate that aggressive sort of play calling and approach? And is that something that as an offense you guys kind of encourage Kevin to go for it in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, I like it, like I trust him 100%. Uh, you know, obviously, looking at those short down and distance, in my mind, we can always get it. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I like being aggressive, things like that.
Thanks.
All right, we'll go back to Scott.
Hey, Harold, after the game yesterday, Shadur said that he thought he needed to be better helping guys rally through adversity. How do you think he's been? I know it's only been 2 starts, but how do you think he's been on the field in the huddle during those difficult times?
Yeah, I say he's been great. I feel like, in those huddles, he's very good with the situation, that we're in and, helping us talk us through it and, like, really just motivating us to go out there and, put something together.
Thank you.
All right, Mary Kay, you have one more?
No, thank you.
All right, last call for questions for Harold. Cam, we'll go back to you.
Sorry, Harold, as someone who's kind of worked with the special teams unit, what do you think maybe could be better in a week, if anything, to maybe clean up some of the blunders on returns and coverage and all the things that have needed to be cleaned up? Is that something that can happen in a week of preparation, or does that just come down to a game?
I mean, I'll probably say it can, it can obviously be fixed in a second. Special teams is a lot of one-on-ones. And obviously I'm gonna take our 11 over theirs. And Bubba always say all the time, these are like easy fixes. Like it ain't nothing crazy. Like we can easily fix this if we all just come together and in that moment and play for each other.
Thank you.